Hey guys, welcome back to Tactical Pontoon. It's James here in the trigger cave. Just got finished wrapping up a good amount of triggers that I will be shipping out tomorrow. So if you're waiting for one, it could be yours. I don't know. You know, as always, definitely working on getting these triggers in and out. You can see I am wearing my XL Weapon Works patch on my very linty hat. This hat has definitely been with me as I polish and polishing away as I have been, really just trying to get things moving. So it's a dirty job. It's definitely a dirtier job than I originally anticipated when I got into this. Lint everywhere. So anyways, reason we are here tonight, we're going to talk about something a little bit different. And if you know, sometimes my stance on certain guns is a little bit extreme. Now, Smith & Wesson M&P, you know, not exactly a big fan. 40 Smith & Wesson, the caliber and cartridge in and of itself, really not a fan. However, I have a couple guns that are chambered in that, or at least they're originally chambered in that. Most of those have since gone on to something better in the way of 357 SIG. So, anyways, speaking of SIG, and that's really what we're here to talk about tonight, and that is the SIG 320, P320, the great drop it and it shoots gun, which they have since fixed. And really, you know, going back to the videos and all of the testing where they drop these things, you know, I get it. And it definitely is a possibility. So, and I beat the crap out of this one on the table. I don't know if I left any marks, but I did. Like, I beat it on the table. It did not give me any issue. So, here we are. This is a SIG P320 carry. And obviously it has the new trigger system and the disconnect. So it is a new model. And why do I have this? It's not because I just really wanted a SIG P320, but the reality is this guy is the future. And by that, I mean the chassis system, which it has. So I have had this chassis apart, and I'll talk about that here more in a minute. But the chassis system, very cool idea. It is the actual, and really, there's no sense for me to go over what you can find in a million different videos. Let's talk about why I have a SIG P320. You know, being that I do joke about SIGs quite a bit, the P365, really don't see myself getting one. Lots of failures. Anyways, let's continue on with the actual subject here. The P320. This is a carry, so it's a little bit closer to like a Glock 19, even maybe call it a Glock 45, if you will, because it is the 17 round. Let's verify here. 17 round with the 3.9 inch barrel. So it's a really good shape, or a good form, balanced gun. So as it comes, let's talk about the trigger, because that's normally what we talk about in here is triggers. This comes with a 7-pound, it's easily a little bit above 7-pound trigger right out of the box. And it's not quite as noticeable just because it has a relatively quick and short action on it. So we'll just take a look. A little bit of take up, and then at the break. So it's unlike a Glock, it sounds very light. Just the the firing pin, when you dry fire it, it's just such a soft sound. If it was a Glock, I would figure maybe the firing pin was getting blocked or something like that, or what. So it was definitely a different feeling. The other thing was the trigger has kind of a springy, disconnected feeling to it, especially in factory configuration. So it was good, but it was weird. I felt that it was kind of weird, and I don't know. I just was not a big fan. Now, as time has gone on, and as I said, I've had this chassis system apart several times. And now let's talk about the chassis system for a moment, if we will, because it's actually pretty interesting. Now, if you've been around Glocks for a while, you know that they are pretty much very easy to take apart with minimal tools. I mean, really all you need is a pin punch, and you can basically take a Glock apart no problem. Putting it back together, a pin punch will work. I tend to like a ballpoint pin or a clicker pin to help seat the mag release, but it's really not necessary. Now, the cool thing about this chassis system, and let's see if we can take a look. This one, like I said, I've had apart a few times now, and the first time it was a bit of a bear, but you can see that trigger bar is polished. Here's the chassis system up top. This is where some of the magic happens, and it also has been polished, played with a little bit. So this chassis is the entire fire control unit, and is, by the letter of the law, considered the gun. And as I said, this is the future. They have different platforms where you can put this chassis down in, and I know Radical Arms is about to release something in the AR type system that literally uses this chassis. So this is a sign of things to come, and I wanted to take a look at that. Now, the cool thing about this, as I was talking about the Glock not needing many tools, and you saw I literally took this chassis out with a pin. You pull the slide off, you pull the slide, what I would call the slide lock lever out of the gun, and then the chassis comes out. Now, I'm not going to take it apart on video, but you really don't need any tools except maybe a pin punch and a sharp pin punch to compress the spring on this safety here, this bypass. Other than that, you really don't need a tool to take this apart. I literally took this guy apart one time sitting on my couch watching TV without even the pin punch, and put it back together. Now, I like that. I'm not going to lie. I do like that fact, because take, for example, the H&K. It is a little bit daunting, and you need to be paying attention when you're taking that apart. This, you do need to need to pay attention, but it is relatively simple in how it comes apart and goes back together. So that definitely has my attention. Maybe I'm just a simpleton. I don't know. However, that being said, it's pretty cool. And that 7 pounds that I initially had, I have now brought it down to, I would say, 4 pounds. Maybe closer to 3.5, depending on just a few different things, but we'll call it 4, with just a few minor modifications. So look forward to something in kit form coming out from me in order to make that 320 trigger just a little bit nicer. And it does clean up the action. It does take away from the sponginess. Now, the reset length, while not long, is not quite what you would expect from a Glock, but overall, it's not bad at all. So I am working on something. I'm definitely excited, more so excited about the 320 than I thought I would be now that I have one on hand. So good old Matt XL, he's sending me one of these chassis to play with, one of his chassis, and I love all of his work that he does, so I'm excited about that. And I've not seen a lot of out of the box thinking with these, and granted, they do not have near the ergonomic problems that a Glock has, but I really would like to see a little bit of the envelope being pushed more than it already is, and I have some plans. I have some definite SIG 320 plans that I am working on, more than just the trigger. So keep an eye out. These things do take time, but they are being worked. So my initial impression of the SIG P320 is definitely better than I thought it was going to be. And I find myself liking it more than I thought I was going to. So that being said, look for more P320 action as time goes by, and more videos on the P320. So while I still love my Glocks, and I will continue modifying and shooting my Glocks, expect to see more P320 material as time goes by. So without wasting any more of your time, I just wanted to give a brief introduction to one of the things we have going on. Do not think that I've forgotten the VP9, VP40, or in my case the VP357. I have some stuff coming up for it. So until next time, really down below, tell me what you think. Is the P320 the future? What has your experience been with the P320? Did you have one of the originals that had the drop safety failures? And do you have one of the new ones, or have you traded it off since? Do you trust this gun? Do you think it is a decent gun? And what has your experience been? I'm always looking for insight. I would definitely like to know, because I'm new to this platform, and what are you looking for out of it? That's another thing. What would you like to see from the P320? Not only in the trigger, but slide, modifications, different accessories that maybe are available in the Glock market, but the P320 not so much. So leave your comments down below. Follow me on Instagram. That's another way. That's really where I update more often than I do here. It's just quicker. It's just easier for me. So until then, like, subscribe, do all that good stuff, but we will see you later on Tactical Pontoon. Thank you guys. We'll talk to you later.